behavior in any kind of market. Each firm will have to ultimately make 5 decisions. What to produce, right? In our case, in our example, Lisa was making cookies. How to produce it. Lisa, for example, has the best recipe and she is good at baking. So here we're talking about technology, which technology we're going to use. Where to produce it, right? Maybe rent a store, maybe find a location, right? Location is important when it comes to most of the production processes. And then 2 other questions. How much to produce it and what price to charge for that good? How much to produce and what price to charge? The answer to these questions are not very much straightforward. So we answer in both of those questions with it depends. It depends on many things. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next. What does it depend on? How much to produce and what price to charge. So let's start with how much to produce. Every time we sell a unit of a product or produce a unit of a product, the producer incurs additional cost and additional benefit. Remember that additional in economics is called marginal. So whenever you produce an extra good or extra product, you have some additional cost of producing that unit and additional benefit from selling that unit, right? So let's think about this hypothetical situation and imagine, go back to our cookies example. So every time you make an extra cookie, you have some certain cost of making that extra cookie, right? So that those extra ingredients that you need to use to produce those cookies, maybe extra time that you need to spend to produce it. What's your benefit? The benefit is the revenue that you receive from selling that extra amount of cookies that you sell. So as long as the marginal benefit is greater than the cost, we say go ahead and produce it. So if it costs you to make 50 cents to make that cookie and you can charge $3 for that cookie, right? We compare an additional cost with additional benefit. We say go ahead and produce that extra cookie. If the marginal cost is greater than the marginal benefit, then we are already making too much. We shouldn't be making that cookie. For example, if it costs you $3.50 to produce the cookie and you can only sell it for $3, then you shouldn't be making that cookie. Now the good question is, well, why would the cost change? Well, imagine making a batch of cookies, right? So you make them probably in batch of 100 or something like that. So the cost of extra cookie is pretty much the average cost of producing that extra batch. But now let's say that there's greater demand. And the demand is only, you have like last customer coming into your store at 11 p.m. wanting an extra cookie. Not 20 cookies, not 100 cookies, but one extra cookie. For that one extra cookie, you need to have the new dough, you have to bake the new batch all again and again. So for you, it's really not beneficial to produce that extra unit, to produce that extra cookie. You know that because you will have to start the whole process again. So that's why the cost of certain cookies may be more than the cost of previous made batch. So ideally, we want to produce at the point where marginal benefit equals to marginal cost. If benefits exceed the cost, it means that we are not producing enough and we want to produce more. If the cost exceeds the benefit, it means that we are already producing too much. So ideally, we want the extra benefit to be equivalent to extra cost. So here we're not talking about overall cost and overall benefit. We're only talking about extra benefit and extra cost. What price are we going to charge? Well, there's 2 possible scenarios. In first scenario, price is going to be dictated by the market, and in second scenario, price is going to be dictated by the optimal quantity and consumer demand. How are those 2 different? Well, depending on the type of the market, you're going to be able to charge a different price for the product. For example, let's say you want to sell carrots at the farmer's market. You go to the farmer's market, Your carrots are no different than everybody else's carrots. They look exactly the same, they taste exactly the same. There's many buyers and there's also many sellers. Which price are you going to charge for your carrots? Well, this really doesn't make much sense to charge higher price than everybody else. Because if you charge in higher price, all the consumers are going to go to other sellers. So you don't really want to do that. You also don't want to charge lower price. On one hand, you can think, well, then I'm going to steal all the customers. Everybody's going to purchase from me. But remember, we said in our hypothetical situation, there's many buyers. So no matter what, you'll be able to sell as much if you charge the price equivalent to everybody else. So this is what we call a situation where price is dictated by the market. Whenever you can't really control your own price, meaning that you're only going to charge what market is charging, that's we call a situation where price is dictated by the market. Or we can have a situation in which price is dictated by your optimal quantity and what consumers are wanting to actually demanding. We'll look at, in that second scenario a little bit more once we discuss different types of market and where this scenario is possible.